to a time technicality that
Yeah.
LGD finished their games quicker. But here we are. We're in Champ Select.
It is Champ Select indeed. This is game number 1 between King and RNG. Jace immediately banned away from Xiaohu. Insec and Korn's Yasuo similarly banned away, so it appears as though we're getting some target bans. We'll see if Ezreal goes through, as interestingly enough, King blue side ban Echo.
I actually really like this. Don't want MLXG to get his hands on that, so we're curious what the priority pick will be, if it will be a Rise or if he'll be banned from purple side. Kind of a different strategy from RNG to ban Yasuo as opposed to what Xiaogu was doing when they unveiled their mid lane Nautilus to counter the Yasuo.
Oh yeah. Things are a little bit different. Victor now banned away from Korn. So far, we're seeing pretty standard target and meta bans out of the two teams. King taking their time with number 3. And I'm looking forward to see how they're going to end up playing this out, because King, they haven't exactly had the smoothest of splits. You talked a little bit about how it took so long for them to get their Koreans. Now they finally have in second 0, but they just can't seem to get any wins.
They can't get any 2-0s. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
The win as opposed to the draw. And I mean, it's been kind of the overarching narrative for King the entire split is we just don't really know where their ceiling cap is. But at the end of the day, if you're not a consistent team, you're not an elite team. And so King are not deserving of that title yet.
We'll have to see if they can pull out some points on this one against RNG, as the last ban from RNG will be Rise, taken away from Insec.
They need to pick Ezreal.
If they leave that Ezreal open for Xiaohu, that would be pretty devastating. Again, this is patch 5.12. That's 5.12. Runeglaive Ezreal at the top of the standings, and couldn't quite make up his mind in time, so we decided he was going to check his runes and masteries. Guys,
got the wrong runes and masteries. Although we did see a Shin hover. That is also a pretty standard priority pick. Invictus Gaming, Zatai, and Amazing J were the first 2 top laners to bring that one to the LPL after Shin made his changes, again on 5.12. His energy costs less to do his taunt, so now he can get that more rotations of that spell off during those big team fights. Likewise, his passive was changed up, so it kind of buffers his lane phase a bit more. So we've seen a lot more Shin entering the LPL.
It will be interesting to see if that is what the final ban or pick is going to be for that first choice, because a first side priority pick of Shen with Ezreal open.
I mean, we've seen counters to the Ezreal already appearing. You had, what was it, Doinby. You had Godv on the Diana. You had Doinby on the Kassadin, which I actually really liked the Kassadin pickup into the Ezreal, because you know that Ezreal's not going to affect your lane phase too much. He's already sacrificed his kill pressure because he's taking Smite. Likewise, Ezreal has pretty much no winning matchups until he gets his Sheen, which in the Runeglaive, that's what you're going to get. So Kassadin gets a bypass-free lane phase. He's going to be just as mobile, if not more, than Ezreal, so Ezreal won't be able to kite away from him. And he's also going to have a crazy, absurd mid-game, late-game power spike that the Runeglaive Ezreal will also have. You are sacrificing your poke and wave clear, but if you bring a hard engage team...
Might be something to deal with that. And I mean, we've all seen how aggressive Insec has been in the past few weeks. The Flash Hemoplague Vladimir has been my personal favorite.
The zoning Hemoplague? Where he just flashes forward and he misses? Yep. Pretty excellent.
And then he just drops it on the zone and is like, well, I guess pull away.
No, but it does speak to kind of the strategy and style that King have started to create as their identity or their MO. So what they like to do is they'll run multiple wave pressure points. So it's almost like a split push pressure comp. They run a lot of Twisted Fate, a lot of Yasuo, and they either bounce the responsibility between Korn or Insec. It seems to be a little bit more viable when they give the responsibility to Insec with Vladimir, just to be a split pusher. And so they're just constantly, even with Name, picking up Sivir more, just playing about different waves and not necessarily looking for team fights, but trying to outmaneuver their opponents.
Seems to be something a little tricky, because they've been playing against teams like EDG and Xiaogu who are capable of keeping pace. And yesterday we even saw IG keep pace with EDG over the extended duration of that team series. And it's sort of a dangerous game to be playing. If you're not as mechanically skilled as your opponents and you try to outmaneuver them, what happens when they catch you? Well,
it's also a completely different strategy than Starhorn Royal Club, which if we're speaking of King, they're effectively the pseudo Starhorn Royal Club, because Starhorn gets relegated, buys the spot back in, relabels as the King roster. King roster then gets moved over to RNG. Let's not even talk about the fact that that's a whole mess of things. But if you think all the way back to what Insec and Zero, when they were first brought over to the LPL and what their style was, it was having Uzi giving all of the resources to him and doing a very protect the AD carry composition, and now they're trying to run, you know, with the Twisted Fate and the Yasuo and the Vladimir and split push here and communicate that with the bilingual team.
Because they've got Name, who is the AD carry. He's the guy who said, give me a team and I'll take it to Worlds.
Very different styles, though.
Yeah.
The one thing about Name is he has demonstrated over the course of his career to play both styles, whereas actually I would say the same of Uzi as well, specifically with the most recent split, although right now OMG are running their sub-north as opposed to Uzi. But if you think back to Uzi, if he's known as the hyper-aggressive jump-in-your-face, murder you in lane, you know, Vayne, Tristana, he's now started to shift it up to Corki, to Sivir, and playing more of a utility style. So yeah, so both of them have seen enormous growth and kind of rounding out of their styles and their identities as players. Which
looks to be an interesting matchup in the bottom, because now you've also got Wushin going up against Name, and you've got to start wondering, will we start to see? Can we expect to see a lane swap from these two? Because Wushin going up against Name looks to be exciting, and that's a point you talked a little bit about earlier. Statistically, these teams don't lane swap, but when would they, if they don't do it against Name? What are they saving it for?
I don't think that either of them will lane swap, just because the teams just don't lane swap. They like to find their standard lanes and then try to snowball off of jungle pressure. Again, it just goes back to stylistically what these teams are good at. So teams who are good at lane swapping, OMG, LGD, EDG, people like that, even Vici in particular, it's because they're able to take advantage. So, okay, why does a team lane swap? It's not necessarily that you're trying to avoid, you know, a power pick like it's not like you're trying to avoid Flandre or you don't want a 2v2 against Uzi. I mean, that used to be the case back in the day, but lane swapping has evolved now. It's matured. It's, okay, we understand how to play the pressure points on the map, and we can make a snowball off of structure objectives as opposed to, you know, ganks and things like that. But if you go back to RNG, to King, where did they find their advantage? Well, statistically, King find their advantage in the first 20 minutes of the game. If they don't get a snowball, they don't win the game. So they need to have the standard lanes because they're relying on their jungle. And if they start lane swapping, then you isolate your jungler to, you know, either power farming or assisting the side lanes as opposed to setting him up to a standard game to gank those lanes to find those kills. So it just is very counterintuitive to things that come naturally to them.
For them to do something like that. Yeah. So then that begs the question, against a team like RNG, are they mechanically capable enough of getting that early lead?
Yes. MLXG will, again, almost to a deficit, gank a lane
go for the kills
versus try to secure an enemy buff or a dragon. Not that he can't do that. I mean, some games he just snowballs wildly. But right now you have two high snowball, high impact junglers who need to make ganks happen in the lane phase. I suspect that majority of the action will be based around the bot lane if we do get a 2v2. Maybe we will see a lane swap.
Yeah, could be. So with this high snowball style lane, we could expect to see a Nunu.
No, I think we'll see more carry-oriented junglers.
Okay.
Echo was banned. I was going to say that was going to be a big contested pick. Nidalee, Rek'Sai, Gragas, probably the three that we'll see. Maybe a Lee Sin if Huey's not able to get his hands on Gragas or Rek'Sai. Statistically relevant champions for him are going to be that Rek'Sai. But here we are. We're back in draft
finally
phase.
Catching back up. Taking a look at the bans. Doesn't look like there's anything different from those sets. And it was the Shen first lock for King. Now it looks like RNG decided to deal with it by putting Lamy onto Thresh.
But again, we talked about, you know, what does King like to do? They like to run split push pressure composition. So picking up that Shen fits in that perfect style. See how Insec will make use of that. On the other side, we said it was going to be Nidalee, Rek'Sai, or Gragas. And here we go. It's Rek'Sai.
Immediately the Rek'Sai, and Hui's like, you know what? We're just going to go down the tier list. Nidalee, not quite there, but there's Gragas. Wide open. Lots of disengage. And with that, interesting. With the Thresh already locked in, do you think there's a chance we could see Zero swap over for Janna at the last second?
I would like to see a Janna just because I think she synergizes really well with what a lot of teams like to do. But again, it's counterintuitive to what King have shown as their...
King style.
Maybe not, because they're trying to siege towers and manipulate waves, and Janna will empower that, making you go faster on the map with Tailwind. But Zero plays a great Braum. I think last split before the World Championship, he was undefeated on the champion. So I'm not going to say it's a signature pick for him, but he has shown some great consistent results on it, at least in the past.
We'll have to keep an eye on that because it looks like he's taking it into Wushin on Vayne and Lamy on Thresh. And Condemn certainly is one way to get people away from your Frostbite stun.
Lei's signature champion is Thresh, as is Thresh for mini supports, but he is very good at it. Wushin, we've talked about how it's Corki and Vayne every single game.
And going right back to the Corki, you can see Name right now looking at Sivir. He's like, wait, it got this far down the draft phase? We're running through picks and bans right quick, and there are a lot of pretty strong choices available.
Likewise, the Fizz being hovered over for Corn, that is a signature pick for Corn. He used to be very well known in solo queue for his Fizz. When he first entered the LPL, it was permabanned against him. Unfortunately, when he finally got his hands on it during the world stage, it was very hit and miss, and he's yet to kind of live up to the reputation that he first had in his rookie year.
We'll have to see how he does, because he's going up against Xiaohu right now, who's currently hovering a Syndra on Lamy's side. The top lane, Let Me, deciding to go for Hecarim. We didn't get a chance to talk about that earlier, but that was locked in, and now we've got the final roster picked up for King. They are completely rounded out, solid engage, disengage, abilities to reset the fight, a lot of assassination and picks, so RNG, they're going to go for a bit of safety themselves, and it looks like Xiaohu should opt into this Lulu.
Again, but the emphasis on King's strategy right now is still, you have so many options to play with split push pressure, rotating, sieging, Sivir, Shen, even Fizz with his pick potential. On the other side, RNG, they're looking for more of a standard protect the AD carry team fight composition. So can King kind of run RNG around the map long enough that they're able to fight them late game, or will RNG be able to pull the trigger and force King into an unfavorable spot with the onslaught of shadows?
We'll definitely have to find out. You can see the coaches shaking hands as we prepare to get in the game, and this looks to be an exciting match. We're going to go ahead and run through the lineups. It's Let Me versus Insect with Shen and Hecarim.
Not quite sure how this one's going to pan out. I think it's just going to be a farm fast for either top laner, and then it's about late game impact. In the jungle, though, it's Gragas versus Rek'Sai, Huey versus MLXG.
Yeah, that looks to be a pretty exciting matchup. A very bloodthirsty jungler on MLXG. In the mid lane, Corn versus Xiaohu, Fizz versus Lulu. And at the bottom, this is where we're expecting the main highlight, Name versus Wushin.
And of course, Name picking the Sivir into the Vayne that I already saw. Typically, Vayne is considered the counter pick to Sivir and can bully her around in lane phase if she gets a hold of her. Joining them will be Zero and Lei on Braum and Thresh.
Yeah, it looks to be an exciting matchup all in all, and I think we should really keep an eye on the junglers. Will the junglers be able to impact those bottom lanes, that bottom lane, as effectively as we expect it to?
I don't know. That's kind of the question on everyone's mind. I definitely think it's more so in the hands of MLXG because he is technically the more veteran jungle compared to Huey.
All right, we're getting into game right now. And we have loaded onto the Rift. It's King versus RNG. This is the LPL Week 8 Day 3 Set 1 Match 1. And everyone's running out of the Rifts. You can hear the crowd leading the chants for these two teams. Clearly some King and RNG fans in the audience.
Got a lot of famous players, a lot of popular players in the match. Again, we talked about how, 4 out of the 5 members for King were on the world stage last year, so not quite the same position this time around.
Bit of a drastic change for King, but this is definitely the time for them to start changing things up. We're 50 seconds in. You can see a defensive 5 line coming out of it, and we talked a little bit about this before Champion Select, that we're not really going to be expecting any sort of lane swaps. We've already got some wards coming out from Wushin and Name to keep an eye on it. Corn playfully trickstering around. He actually burnt a lot of mana there. I wonder if he's going to be allowed to complete this recall, if Xiaohu's going to let him.
Well, Xiaohu's breakdancing on ward right now, so I think he's pretty fine to just let him go back.
Yeah.
But here we are. Lei is actually pressing the back button. I don't know if he's maybe just playing around with his back. Okay, that's what he's doing. I was going to say, it is going to be the 2v2 in the bot lane. No surprises there. These teams don't lane swap, which is curious because they don't lane swap, and they also have the worst dragon control in the entire LPL. These are the 2 bottom teams at it.
And that's what you would expect from a team that keeps their duo on the bottom side. They've got pressure on that bottom side, but ironically enough, they don't have a lot of dragon control. Insect.
This is cheeky.
Yeah.
Does he have, he has taunt. He's looking for a cheese level 1.
Ooh.
Get in there. They've got to get to the lane.
King looking to get aggressive. Here comes Zero and Name. The leash successful for Hui. Lamy and Wu Xin are going to head on down to lane. They do have a bit of experience by taking away one of those minor golems. Let's see if Insect is going to find them and harass. Coming out. Wait, what? Oh, he actually landed the taunt. Wu Xin gets caught. He goes low. The stun locks him up. They got to finish it. First blood picked up by Name.
Beautifully mechanically played by Insect to flash forward and just barely graze the end of the taunt on Wu Xin. That is... Get cheesed.
Oh, yeah. Well, one way to start the game. This is King with first blood, already turning up the heat on that bottom side, and suddenly RNG probably are going to start sweating a bit.
Should be noted, though, that Insect did lose some experience. Now, of course, he got the experience off of the kill, was able to back and then teleport to the top lane, but of course he didn't take the camp that Let Me did, so sacrificing his advantage to give Name that first blood.
Yeah, and that sort of speaks to what we kind of expected from King, that they are going to put that pressure on the bottom side and try to let Name do what Name does.
Yeah, but it's also very interesting because Name, at the very beginning of kind of this King roster, was playing a lot more of his Jinx, these hyper carry champions. It's only recently that he started to trend back to Sivir and kind of augment and empower Corn and Insect to make plays for him. So it fits thematically for how you would think the team would position and wait around a power like Name, but most recently they've actually been kind of trending away from it.
We'll have to see how things work out if Name is able to continue with that aggressive team play pattern, if King will be able to take the win. MLXG currently waiting in the Dragon Pit, but isn't quite going to find anyone going for that Trinket Ward. Quick recall from Name and Zero is going to net a super fast pickaxe. King look to continue putting pressure on that bottom side with the early back in those items, but here's MLXG stealing away the Raptor buff from Hui. He's not going to spot that coming, but uh-oh, here comes Hui. Zero.
He's looking for a gank through the, yeah, like you said, through the Raptor camp.
Oop, looks like MLXG makes it out of there in time. Spot Zero dropping out.
The only reason that he was able, oh, hold on, this is...
Continues to provide chase. Here's Lamy. Zero might have to flash. He does. Makes it over the red buff camp and gets out safe.
Making so many aggressive plays off the fact that Name and Zero backed, allowing MLXG this window of opportunity to go and look for a deep ward. And then as soon as Name appeared in the lane, knowing that they had the superior position with Lei being there first, still risky because they actually didn't have any eyes on Huey.
Very risky play indeed, but it ends up paying off for MLXG as he's able to seal away that camp and clear away the pink ward for Corn. That's 100 gold trying to keep him safe. That's 100 gold now missing. Name now in the bottom lane, finally caught back up with Wu Xin. He does have that pickaxe for raw attack damage over Wu Xin, but seems like Wu Xin seems to be doing just fine for now, especially with MLXG on that side. Hui might be looking for a gank in the mid lane. He finds Xiaohu, flash, knockup, finds him, he goes low. Let's see if the burn is going to be enough. He silenced Corn, juggling aggro. Hui doesn't have it. He takes another turret hit, goes low. Xiaohu gets the kill.
Complete miscommunication from Huey and Corn right there to look for the dive. They're not able to juggle the tower aggro, and that is devastating because now not only does Xiaohu have the advantage in the lane because he's already a ranged champion and Lulu's a lane bully, but he has the EXP advantage of taking the jungler down as well as the blue buff.
Yeah, that's a scary lane for Corn to be in right now. He has no more sustain on his flask. He's got no more potions, which means he's going to be sitting at that low health for quite a while. Luckily, he is Fizz, does have Playful Trickster, and is an absolute nuisance to actually assassinate. So we'll keep an eye on whether or not MLXG is going to actually find a gank on that side over there. And this has already been an eventful early game.
It's been a little bit unfortunate, though.
Yeah.
So we talked about how both of these junglers were going to be looking for early plays, early ganks in the lane, and it comes back and it bites Huey really hard. And not only does it impact him, because obviously he then loses his blue buff, although he was kind of on the teetering end of it for his jungle clear, but specifically Corn, already in a very tough uphill matchup.
Already things looking a bit tough for Corn, though King do still have that shining light of first blood on the Name. He does only have about 5 CS ahead right now. Hui gets his Razor Sharp buff procced almost immediately as Xiaohu and MLXG with a deep roam might be able to find Hui over here. He makes it over the wall. There goes the Wolf Spirit. Some damage comes across, but Xiaohu can't quite make it in time and decides to let Hui go.
MLXG should be in full control of this jungle, especially with Xiaohu having the advantage in the mid lane. As long as he plays to top side, look for him to contest second rotation of blue buff.
We'll have to see how that works out. Interesting to see that MLXG has been so aggressive. It's something that we talked a little bit about earlier, and He's certainly living up to that aggression. Zero takes some harass from Laney, but MLXG, I feel like he spent more time inside of King's jungle than his own so far.
It's the thing about MLXG, he's a very young player, obviously relatively new to the LPL, not necessarily competitive experience because of LSPL. He thrives at one particular style, but it's been his issue of trying to change up that style, especially with the Cinderhulk meta, not being able to, you know, be the best Sejuani in the league. As the jungle trends back towards, you know, devour junglers on 5.13 or more carry-oriented junglers, MLXG just kind of gets a meta buff. So we'll see if his performance continues to rise, but it's always just been an issue that he plays one style particularly well, and if he doesn't get to play that style, it kind of teeters out.
Yeah, well, he's currently playing that aggressive invade-based style in this game. Ward is spotted out as King got very aggressive, sending 4 members to the bottom side of the map, plus Insec has his stand united. That could be 5 right quick, but RNG are able to respond appropriately. They've got MLXG down there, Lamey is already down there as well, and you've even got Let Me with his teleport, so looks like they're going to play it safe, keep that turret alive for now, though Name looks to make a good case for bringing it low. And Corn's forced to hop away. MLXG does find Hui. I don't know that he's going to have any backup, though. He's going real aggressive here.
He's got red buff versus Gragas not having it, so MLXG understanding how much more powerful he is than this Gragas, and will just continue to invade Hui over and over. And again, that's what happens if you translate an advantage in the mid lane, as opposed to, it's really hard to force the Fizz to fight you. He's just going to playful Trickster away and just stay away and try to safely farm. Although, hold on, Hui might be in trouble.
Buff right now. Hui does have his smite, so he should be able to secure it. Yeah, goes from 100 health to 5.
So instead of just continuing to attempt to abuse your lead in the mid lane, they just translate it immediately into the jungler. Okay, Fizz, you won't fight us, we'll invade your jungler, so we force you to fight us, or you lose everything.
Let Me actually with a very quick invade finds the blue buff unattended, knowing Huey's on the other side. Let Me immediately turns on to Insec. Here comes Corn dashing forward, and Let Me's forced to onslaught of shadows his way out of there. Let's see if Corn provides chase. He flashed the wall. Fish comes out. Let Me's caught in the chum of waters, looking for a solo kill, and Corn should be able to find it. He does.
He didn't necessarily need to take the tower shot. He would have killed him off of the burn, but great collapse and protection. So the onslaught continues into Huey's jungle, but King finally responding.
Yeah, an appropriate response, and that kill is on Fizz as well. Right now, the gold is on the people that it needs to be for King. Name, rocking that first blood. He came into the lane with a wicked early advantage. Oh, MLXG going for a super heavy invade. I think he was looking to steal away that blue buff right there, and now he's going to find Corn over the wall. He knows Corn has no mana. This is a very bold play for MLXG, but he's able to make it work. Just
the confidence, the protection, knowing that Corn had expended not only the ultimate, but the flash up into the top lane, so he wouldn't have those abilities available, and knowing that Xiaohu was back in position.
Oh, MLXG might have overextended himself a bit here. Take some damage. There's Insec with the Shadow Dash. A great stand united. Nets another kill for King.
He just overstayed. So we talked about, you know, the confidence and understanding that you can invade because Fizz used so many ultimates, but at the same time, if you see the stand united coming down, that's probably a cue to leave.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was MLXG going down. The third kill now for King. Name swinging towards the mid. He will find Xiaohu and Lamey to defend the turret, but here comes Wu Xin. They're going to try turning this around. Name takes some damage. There goes the knockup, but it goes wide. Name's caught. He goes low, and he goes down.
Beautiful flash forward from Lei. Fun fact, Lei has the highest kill participation of any support in the LPL.
Ooh, well, it's clearly working out so moderately. He currently is only 1 out of his team's 2 kills. Didn't get an assist for that first blood earlier on, but...
Take away the stat. Doesn't deserve it anymore. Didn't get the assist.
Clearly, one exception is the whole story of the rule. But let's talk a little bit about this game and how we got here. There was the early first blood from King, and now RNG putting up so much pressure with RNG, but King are responding appropriately. They're getting kills, but more importantly, they're getting kills on the right people.
And it's really just been an onslaught of pressure applied to Huey. Now, MLXG did make an overstep previously and died in the jungle, which allowed King to try to make a play onto that mid-tier tower, but a great flash forward from Lei means that RNG get their footing back into it and actually are the first siege on the mid-tier tower.
Yeah, they do take down that mid-tier 1, though they lost their own bot tier 1 a little while ago. Now, Dragon is being started up by King. Looks like RNG are in no position to contest it, and they're going to cede that over. Dragon number 1 secured for King, though they might lose that top tier 1. No teleport for Insec. Yeah, Let Me's going to take that.
So we have our answer. Who is the worst team at Dragon Control in LPL? Because we have the bottom two, and it is RNG.
Yeah, looks like that's going to be the trade. RNG sack it over. Insect flash taunt. He's looking for the kill here. Challenging Smite goes down. Alemi doesn't have enough mana for the onslaught of shadows. He's so close. Is he going to make it out of there? Oh my gosh, he doesn't have vision. Insect is going to land the dagger, and he finds it.
I think Insect was actually trying to kill him with the Sunfire cape. Just wants to walk up to him, but does pick it up with the Q.
Oh, man.
Loses the tower, and of course it was the call of RNG to say, you know, we're not in position to contest this dragon, so we're just going to trade the structural objective for the monster objective, but not ideal for Insect to find a play on the back half of that.
Yeah, well, the scary thing is that, yes, King are getting these kills, but they're actually down in gold over RNG for the time being because of those early objectives. They're going to have to start looking to take a few turrets of their own to start netting that actual global gold advantage over RNG.
Well, they're in prime position to do that. We look at Name's build. He's got the classic BF sword, pickaxe, upgraded speed boots. So he is there to take towers and to take them efficiently.
He's there to chew bubblegum and take towers. He's all out of bubblegum.
Wushin wants to chew some bubblegum.
Yeah, but he's not going to find Name's because Name's all out.
No, he can definitely find Name if this turns into a 2v2. I'm actually going to give the advantage to Wushin Van in the duration of her final hour.
And the completed Blade of the Ruined King on RNG as that early global gold nets the earlier item.
See who gets involved, though, because we actually do have MLHG also heading down.
Yeah, he's racing down as quick as possible. Boots one coming across. Let's see if he is going to land the hook. Ooh, just narrowly misses.
Using the spell shield anyway, but we've got 5 members of RNG now looking for this tower. King quickly trying to get back into position.
Yeah, they're trying. Hui's on his way down. It's now 5 members, as you said. They're going to try getting some damage down. Name is slowed. And RNG don't have enough minions.
They're trying to stall for Insect up into the top lane. Has the completed Sunfire Cape. We talked about split push in. He's got the Stand United available should his team need him, but he's looking at that second tier top tower.
Yeah, he's pushing for the top tier 1 right now, and looks like RNG decide not to commit on that bottom side. King are let to keep that turret, and they answer with one of their own.
So much wasted time from RNG, just kind of mispositioned across the map, and King pick up another free objective as well as finally take the gold lead.
That is the gold lead for King, 1,014.5 minutes into the game. And so far, this has been an eventful game, though it's relatively low kills, relatively low turrets. It's all been about positioning and trying to prevent the other team from positioning around. You talked about RNG putting so much pressure onto Hui. Well, it has net a pretty solid gold lead for MLXG. You can see he's up about 20 CS right now, but he's not really been making that many crazy ganks happen. He's not been that bloodthirsty jungler that we expected.
Well, they had momentum and they had the lead because, again, King just managed to sneak that one back, taking the global objective in the top lane. But by mispositioning and pressuring the incorrect side of the map, they effectively gave the last 2 minutes back to King to not only set up their farm, but to take another tower. So any momentum or lead that they had, they squandered because they played to bot side as opposed to trying to focus down mid.
We'll have to see if they can reclaim yet another lead as Wushin looks to find some pressure on the Name. But Lamy's already down there, and so too is Zero, so they should be able to defend. MLXG still on that bottom side.
Round 2.
Yeah,
they want the outer tier tower, and it should be the easiest objective to obtain, but they need to pull the trigger before Insect gets a wave set up into the top side. So just needed to go.
Oh, there goes the Lantern over the wall. You've also got a roam from Xiaohu, as it looks like Lamy wanted to try making some action happening, but Name, with both his summoners and his on the hunt, should be able to escape out of there, though it seems like they might, in fact, lose that tier 1 to another 4-man push from King.
Oh, that's finally good, though. I mean, that's what RNG were there for initially. Problem is that they didn't pull the trigger quick enough, but hold on.
Warren looks to find a solo kill on the Lamy. That turret did go down. Insect actually using the Stand United, and there are no kills despite the pressure from King looking to get some revenge for that fallen turret.
But they got the tower.
They did. So now what's the response from King? Looks like they're going to send 3 members mid. Name split pushing on the bottom side, actually caught in a bit of an awkward position because they really need that Sivir to start knocking down turrets.
He's trying to force the wave in. Does need to rotate towards the mid lane. Yeah. I think they're actually going to find a window of opportunity if Xiaohu mistimes his back.
They just might. Dragon's up in a minute. Here goes Korn. He's clearing out that Raptor camp. Everyone just taking their time with a nice slow game. Hui actually going forward here. Knocks Xiaohu back into the fight. Name joins the fight, destroys Xiaohu. A lot of ultimates being blown. This is now 5 members. That's a lot of the wave clear missing from RNG. They might lose this tier 1.
Really beautiful play from here. He talked about how, you know, Rek'Sai typically was his only statistically relevant champion in terms of wins, but he's really stepped it back up on the Gragas. They need to back. So right now they're backing and they're resetting the wave because this dragon is about to spawn in 20 seconds. So expect them to pick up, refresh their sight stones, upgrade their trinkets, pick up their pink wards, and start heading down towards that pit.
We do see some pretty big items being picked up. Insec on his recall completes a Randuin's on top of that Sunfire. He's not going to take any damage from any of these early game AD damage dealers from RNG. On the other side, Korn looking for his own needlessly large rod, and Name going investment banker status with the Avarice Blade.
More important, though, is that his Infinity Edge is completed, especially for the big 5v5 of this dragon. We do have the needlessly large rod also in the pocket of Xiaohu, so we'll add more flat health as well as flat resistances to his shield, as well as the wild growth on Lucian.
We'll have to see if that works out effectively as this dragon is being started by King. They've got better positioning. Letme is actually on the other side of the map. He's got his teleport, but it seems like RNG are going to let this one go.
Second dragon trying to trade the top side tower. Insec doesn't have teleport, but he is racing across the map right now in his leather boots.
Oh, come on, let me. Oh no, he's going to drop a ward. Finally, he's going to get back onto the tier 2. And once again, RNG make the exact same decision that they made 6 minutes prior. Sacking a dragon for a turret, though. Looks like they're going to put a lot of resources onto this top side. Can they dive Insec? He's got a lot of tanky stats.
I think it's just about sieging the tower as opposed to diving Insec, trying to take the free objective, and it looks like they will get it.
Ooh, yeah, turret goes down. RNG keeping pace in global gold with King.
King goes down for the top side, so quickly now just trying to respond to the pressure point that Name has created. Baron will be spawning in 1 minute. There could actually be a desperation Baron here if RNG commit too many resources to the bottom side. Like, because King have just reset their positioning on the map, they could have actually just rushed towards the Baron. It would have been risky, but if they found it unwarded.
I heard free Barons are pretty nice.
That would have been my Chinese play of the day.
They're still in position on that side. They've got Hui, and there were some directional pings to find Letme on that side, but instead, Zero looks for a few deep wards as he invades the blue buff of RNG. Hui and Korn look to steal that away, and RNG just cannot quite respond in time, and Korn left to take another blue.
They've got so much vision control in that area. There are 4 pink wards and 4 green wards on the bottom side of RNG.
It really seems like we're seeing 2 completely different games from these 2 teams. King are content to reset the waves and try taking those turrets, but RNG, they're so happy and comfortable not fighting, just pushing, roaming around the map, keeping King from getting those powerful team fights and that early snowball lead that's so essential to King finding their wins.
I think it's more so that RNG, they look a little bit scared to start these fights. If you think back to kind of their attempted siege initially on the bottom lane, they had Hecarim in position, but again, just didn't decide to commit or pull the trigger with the Onslaught of Shadows. And to be frank, they need to be looking for the 5v5. Their composition is set up to allow Lucian to thrive. So yes, it does benefit them to elongate a farming phase for Vayne, because obviously late game Vayne is where you're trying to go with 3 items. Mm-hmm. But at this point, they're just kind of letting, I mean, it's only a slim gold lead, yeah. 100. Just kind of letting King push them around the map.
I think the biggest thing, though, is where the gold is currently placed. We just saw the gold stats on the graph on the bottom of the screen, and Name was 1,400 gold ahead of Wu Xin. I believe MLXG had a minor gold lead, Xiaohu similarly had a minor gold lead, and Insec was about 300 gold ahead of Letme, but the fact that Name has so much gold really speaks to how King are balancing their resources. There goes the on the hunt, but an immediate death sentence stops Hui in his tracks.
The thing, though, is that what does that gold lead actually equate to between Sivir and Vayne, especially, again, in the duration of Vayne's ultimate when she gets those free stats. So about 1,400, and you're closing into a BF sword, which Vayne's itemized fully into attack speed. No surprises there, because when she presses R, she gets the free BF sword. So it's shored up for at least the duration of the final hour.
We'll have to see if Wu Xin can make effective use of that final hour, or if Name will make more effective use of the current gold lead that he has.
They should just bait Baron.
Why is that?
Because Wushin is farming the bottom lane, because again, Vayne just wants to kind of passively sit back, let her item stack, see you on that, you know, 3rd, 4th dragon fight. And they need to kind of force and look for picks here. They do have a ton of pick potential with Shen Taunt as well as the power of Fizz. They're letting RNG, you know, sit back and wait for when they're strong, as opposed to kind of forcing RNG to make mistakes. I don't think that they, I mean, you have to think high risk, high reward type of play. If you bait around the Baron, you force the enemy team to either come to you and try to set up a pick because you're in the better position to put down your vision because Wushin's bottom, or you just get a free Baron. So
generally a good idea for King. We'll have to see if they decide to go for that sort of play, because it looks like they've got their eyes on that next dragon. It's about 90 seconds from spawning. You've already got Name farming it up on that bottom side. He's going to go for a recall. Zero looks like he's heading to the bottom side as well. And Insect already positioned on the top side of the map with both stand aside and teleport ready. There are actually some directional things coming out of King heading towards that top tier 2. They might try to find Let Me with his pants down. But luckily that guy has got 4 legs in his pants. He should be able to pull him right back up.
What's with you and pants today? Breeches, pants?
They make good metaphors.
I see. They do have
everyone wears pants.
I'm sure there are people who don't wear pants.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean. You're tearing holes in my metaphors here.
Look, they're finally playing around the Baron pit, but it's almost too little too late. The dragon will be spawning in 40 seconds. They could attempt to make a play onto this top tier tower. That said, the mid second tier tower will give them more passive control over the map. And again, they've placed all of this vision around the top side of the map when all of it's about to become pretty worthless because they need to start moving their vision back down towards the dragon.
Yeah, it looks like they're finally going to swing down Hui with his Sightstone. Name clearing out the Scuttle Crab with him. As once again, looks like King have got superior positioning. We'll have to see if RNG make the exact same choice they made with the previous 2 dragons and decide to trade it over for some sort of turret objective. Death Sentence goes out from Lamy, but goes wide. And it appears that RNG, with shoving this wave, should have a bit of time to get some solid positioning onto the dragon. Korn clearing out that wave in the middle. And Insect trading it up with Let Me on the top side. There goes some more harass onto Korn.
He just lost a huge chunk of his health. He's potting up right now, but right before this dragon fight. Huey!
Yeah, going aggressive here. Immediately, the Wombo combo finds Wushin, but he makes it out alive. Name goes low. Stand United has dropped on him to keep him alive. There goes a huge boomerang hitting Lamy twice in one direction, picking up another 2 kills for RNG. And oh, Let Me stops the stand aside from Insect, but that might be his death because Insect will not be stopped. He's going to get revenge for his fallen comrade as he turns now on to Let Me. Oh, finally he lets him go, and King do manage to take that dragon.
Insect in a bit of trouble. Did he? Okay. I was going to say, did he use his taunt? No, he's just going to taunt over the wall. Huey, again. Yeah. Really showing up on Gragas, showing that he can play more than one jungle champion right now. That was a beautiful knockback. I mean, just look at this CC and then right on Wushin, straight into the waiting Braum ultimate now. Wushin does have to burn every single summoner to reposition himself, but he's forced out of the fight. It's an easy, quick cleanup for King. Yeah,
King managed to clean that up right quick. Oh, man. You can see the reaction there. Hui, you know, he was able to make that play. Whoa, Name's actually caught out on the bottom side. There's no way he's going to make it out of this one. He goes down to Xiaohu.
Pop.
Yeah, so Hui, he was pressured in the early game. MLXG was doing everything in his power to shut Hui down, and still we're seeing him be effective.
And it just speaks to the power of Gragas. This is why he is such a high priority, almost over Rek'Sai. Although I understand why MLXG would prioritize Rek'Sai over Gragas against Huey. Because again, statistically, Huey isn't relevant on Gragas. I think he was like 3 and 9, something close to that. So it makes sense, but Huey over the last 2 weeks has really kind of showed himself back up.
Ooh, battle for the red buff. MLXG is able to secure it. The Death Sentence catches him mid-body slam. He's going to have to make it over the wall. Condemn locks him down. Can he make it over in time? Xiaohu's waiting for him, and RNG find a pick.
And no one from King comes to assist him. That was Huey versus the world.
Yeah.
And trying to secure that red buff.
Poor guy. Unfortunately, he did not make it out with his life as Korn was on the other side of the map, and Insect was happily farming away on the top Xiaohu is going to clear this wave and woo, ride the Lantern back to safety. We're 27 minutes into the game. This is a fairly even match. Only a 400 gold difference between the two. We've seen turrets traded. We've seen dragons traded, though King do have those 3. They can play for that 5th dragon win condition.
Yeah, it would be very dangerous to give King the 4th dragon for free, completely uncontested. I feel like at this point, Wushin is strong enough and ready to go, has his QSS completed as well as his 2 primary attack speed items. Of course, that'll probably upgrade into a Phantom Dancer.
Expect to see a lot more damage from Wushin. Yep, he does opt for that Phantom Dancer. And a few minutes ago, we actually saw the gold flashed once again on the bottom side. Name was 3,000 gold ahead of Wushin. You're seeing that with his completed items. He's already got to finish Last Whisper versus only the Quicksilver Sash of Wushin. Name really going to have to come up big in these next team fights because so much of his team's gold is on his shoulder. Well,
likewise, he also has those 3 completed core items, the Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, as well as the Static Shiv. So made it out of that mid-game power trough that a lot of 3-item 80 carries fall into. And finally, we have the Baron bait.
Oh, yeah, looks like King are trying to bait it out, but you've got MLXG waiting with that Prey Seeker over the wall. Insec already on the bottom side of the map. Will they be able to do it in time? There goes the Prey Seeker to proc Baron. Name takes a hit, but he should be able to heal it right back up with just a few auto attacks from enemy creeps. And they decide not to follow through on continuing with that Baron. Look at all the vision they've got on that side.
Again, they're trying to set up for a pick, but RNG did a good job not baiting themselves into too small of a choke point, and instead just sending MLXG to check it over with his Tremor Sense and be obnoxious with Prey Seekers, as opposed to pulling Wushin and Xiaohu over into the area.
RNG and King are both not quite ready to commit to some of those more intense fights. Let me trading it up with Insec and healing it right back to full health. As the wet noodles are being spun in both directions by those 2 solo laners. Zero opting for a bit of a recall here. And decides to cancel it out as things starting to slow down just a little bit. And I think RNG are okay with this slower pace. They've got the late game vein. They can afford to take their time with it, though. Xiaohu finds some great damage on the Name. They cannot quite pick him off, though.
Dragon will be spawning in 1 minute 30 seconds. Again, we talked about how RNG have slowed it down, but need to step up and contest for this 4th Dragon. If King are able to get it, would be a boon for them to be able to secure that Baron.
Oh, Lamey looking for a pick here. Doesn't find anyone as Zero stands aside with a great dodge. Suddenly RNG are in a bit of an awkward position here. King might be forcing a fight. There goes the stand united. Hui, is he going to dive in? There goes the knockup. They find only Let Me. He's not the person they want to be looking for. The AoE gets stacked up. MLXG gets the knockup, but Name's untouched in the back. He's shredding through the carries. Let Me tries to re-engage, but goes down. It's a double kill for King right here as they pick up 2, and Wushin is forced to run for his life. Invisibility is not going to save you from Insec. He goes low and he goes down.
Insec again with another max range taunt flash to tie up Wushin and secure that team fight, making full use of the choke point. You're absolutely correct. As, MLXG.
Yeah, he gets caught out by Korn. He's going to get out to safety due to a great save from Lamey, but there's no chance he's going to be able to steal this Baron. King take a team fight, and they're finally going to take the Baron.
And they're finally back in control. We'll see if they back and then quickly rush towards that Dragon, because the 5th Dragon win condition is still available to him. But here we go. Let's look at this team fight. Big thing is that they're going to herd RNG over into this choke point, which Zero gets a fantastic ultimate chain CC onto that Let Me. And just look at Name's positioning. He actually hadn't moved for the first probably 5 auto attacks right there. Completely untouched, just using his ricochet, bouncing through all of the clustered up RNG members, making the most of his gold advantage.
Yeah, and that's wow, that great taunt flash onto Wushin and net the kill. And that really speaks to King's patience, because RNG were trying so hard to find a team fight, and King juggled it out appropriately, waited for the right window, and then went in. That's going to net the Baron a few kills and the 4th Dragon. Everything is going King's way right now.
Well, we talked about the difference in veteran status. RNG have one of the youngest players in the LPL in their mid lane in the form of Xiaohu, and again, 4 out of 5 members from King were on the world stage last year.
the siege coming out from King on this bottom lane. They're going to take the tier 2 with no contest from King. Insect splitting in the mid lane, looks to put pressure on multiple points for RNG. They can't even make it to their inhibitor turret in time. Name doing so much damage. Look at the crit, 600 damage onto Xiao, who a third of his health gone.
That crit static shiv proc onto a reset with your W.
So much damage coming across the cannon. Minions slowly but surely weathering this turret down, preventing any sort of regeneration. The hook finds Hui. That's not the target they want to be looking for. They cannot quite flay him over the wall. Let's see if they are going to finally take it down. Yeah, the taunt finds MLXG. He gets a knock up in time. Will he be able to escape as Name kites around the edge? He gets dove by Hui. Korn picks up the kill. It's complete chaos as King are diving into RNG's base and picking up kill after kill. Lucian tries to turn it around. The fear comes across perfectly stacked, but it's not enough. Let me, the only survivor with MLXG, runs away from his own base to survive, but King are unsated. They pick up kill after kill and rush into RNG's undefended base.
And again, the question is, what does Insect's champion pool look like? You know, coming from the jungle into the top lane was a bit of a question mark. Saw a lot of Yasuos, a lot of Vladimirs, but finally putting himself back on meta. Had a great performance on a very surprising Rumble, and now an even better one on the meta pick of Shen.
Let me finally ends up going down. RNG look like they're going to drop this one. It's King who are back on top. They're going to take a win over RNG, 15-6. King win the game.
This far down on the standings, we talk about how it's try-hard mode activated. You need to find the 2-0s here if you're going to try to slip into that playoff